Welcome students for today's class. Today we are going to see implementation issues, whatever is there in your software engineering. So we are going to have this class and you can get this on implementation issues, the questions for 6 marks in your exam. So here you have to write all the critical stages, whatever is there inside your system implementation, and you have to mention all the critical issues, that is like your reuse, configuration management, host target development. All these things you have to write down and you need to explain it in detail. So today we are going to see how the issues will be there, how the critical issues will be happening inside your like during your software engineering process, and how we are going to overcome that. So moving towards your next slide, here you can see, so in implementation issues, in the sense you are not going to write the programming skills, or you're not going to show your programming skills over here, but rather than that it will have some other context which has to be taken care properly. Okay, so inside your implementation issues there are some three types of issues are there. The first one is reuse, the next one will be your configuration management, and the next one is host target development. Now in detail if I want to go, first we have to understand what do you mean by reuse. As the name you can see, reuse, here you will have the existing code, okay, during the software development process, and what you are going to do, you are going to reuse the code and you are going to develop the new software. So that time this reuse concept will be into the picture, and wherever suppose if you don't want to use the whole and soul of the existing code, you can use it partially and you can develop your new code. So that is the meaning of your reuse. The next one you can see, that is nothing but it is a configuration management. So what will happen in your configuration management is, in your development process, whenever you are going for the development process, otherwise in the during the development process, so this process, this configuration management, this process will manage whatever the changes are happening in the software system. Okay, so if you want to do any kind of changes, or if you want to change the versions, if you want to change any track of any of the softwares, then all these things has to be managed by your configuration management system. And also one more thing, it used to aim, that is like it will take care of the integration process. Okay, whenever it will take care of your integration process, that time all developers has to access the project code, whatever the project code will be there, all the developers has to access the project code and all the documents, and they can control all these things in a very like systematical way. So that is nothing but that is your configuration management. So the next one is known as your host target development. So in this host target development, there are two things. One is your host, another one is your target. So who will be the host? The machine on which the software is developed or has been implemented, that is known as your host. Okay, and the target will be like the machine on which the software is going to run. So these two terms you have to take care here, the host and target. Okay, the host will be like the machine on which the software is developed, and target will be the machine on which the software is going to run. So these two things you need to take care, and how it is going to be utilized for this. So here what will happen is, uh, this host target development, it is a kind of your software development where the software has to be developed on one of the system or in one of the computer, and it can be run in another computer system. Okay, so here you can utilize both the things. That is the region. This is known as your, like two things is there, has been given the name over here for this host and target. One will be your development platform, one will be your execution platform. So there will be two platforms for this host target development. Why? Because in this host target development, in one development platform you can develop the softwares, and in your execution platform you can execute the softwares. So these things has been utilized for your host target development. Moving towards the next slide, here in detail we are going to see all these three concepts. because it will come for your 6 marks of question, and already in the January 2019 the question has come for 6 marks. So now checking the detail about the reuse, how the reuse has been started and how you are going to utilize this. Here you can see that this software has been developed from your 1960 to till 1990. So here what you are going to do, you are before that all the codes used to be written in your high level language, okay, high level programming language. So afterwards what happened, if you want to use some significant code, then you need to write it into the objects, in all the objects whatever will be there in object oriented programming language, and that time you have to use all the libraries. So slowly day by day everything was getting changed. So whenever we had a change, that time whatever the existing code will be there, by using the libraries, how we are going to write the same code in some different way, that is nothing but that is a reuse of your existing code. And this approach has been very commercialized and it has been available in internet also. So suppose if now also at home, if you want to develop any of the software, by searching or by using the search engines, you can get many kinds of your codes, existing codes, and by utilizing that in which platform you want to execute, you can easily execute it. And this is a this term is generally we are using it only for the business purpose, or if you can see only for the scientific purpose we are using this kind of softwares. Okay, so here the main aim is that whatever the functions or objects or parameters or components are available, all these things we are utilizing and we are using it in the upcoming scenarios. So that is about your reuse. So now you can see here there are different levels, okay, for this software reuse. You can see some four software reuse levels are there. You have to mention also these things under your reuse. So the first one will be abstraction level. So what is happening in your abstraction level is, in this label, the reuse of this software to use the software directly. So here how you are going to utilize, first you have to gather the knowledge of the successful, if you need to gather all the knowledge whatever has mentioned for that software. Then one abstraction value you have to create, and then only you can design your new software. So in that way you can utilize the codes or the existing things and also. That is nothing but that is an abstraction label. Okay, so what is the next one? That is your object label. So here you can use directly the objects or from the library, because as the name suggesting you the object label, so definitely it will move towards your object oriented programming language, where we will have the library, and directly from the library you can utilize objects and the commands and everything, and you can write the code yourself. The next one is known as your component label. So here all the components will be there. Okay, so components are nothing but the collection of your objects and the object classes, okay, that merge together is known as your components. So here also you can in this label you can design your like uh, softwares or coding, and you can utilize that things in your application system. The last label is known as your system label, where the entire application has to be developed. Okay, that is the whole application has to be developed inside your system level applications. So now how it looks like, suppose if I want to put it in a diagrammatical way, you can see software reuse. So now the software reuse of four types. One will be your object label, component label, abstraction label, and system label. And in your abstraction label, it will have only the patterns of your architectural design and architectural and design patterns. So based on that only this abstraction label has been derived. And the next one will be your object levels, where you are going to use the programming language by utilizing the libraries. You can take the data from your directly from the libraries and you can write the code. The next one will be your components, which will where you are going to make utilize of your component frameworks and you can design the applications. The last one is nothing but it is your system label, where you can design. This is a whole system about the whole system, okay, where the entire label has to be reused, and here you can design your application systems. So now if I will consider about the reuse cost, so suppose developing a new programming code and reutilizing the existing one, then how the cost will differ from one to one, that also has to be checked properly. So if you want to reuse the softwares, then how the cost will be. So time to time, whenever you will use the softwares, you can see that it will not meet to your expectations. Whatever you have expected, it will not meet to the expectations, but you can have some of the codes whatever you have expected, it will be a part of your expectations. So in that way, if you want to spend some amount, then definitely it will be a less cost, right? So because we are reutilizing all the things, all the codes and all, so it will not be that much, it won't take that much of time also. But if you want to see very large way and all, then the cost will be very high, because if you are reutilizing any of the software, so what will happen is major things you need to change. So if you are changing the major part of the software, then definitely the cost will be very high. And also one more thing is there, wherever the cost will increase more, whenever you are going to configure the system according to your software components, that time also it will reflect towards your cost. Okay. And also if you want to integrate the software elements so that in other system also you can run your new code, then in that time also your cost will differ. So now the next one is like your configuration management. Okay. So configuration management is the name where it is a general process of managing a changing software system. It means what I already told you. Configuration management is nothing but it is a process of managing the changes. If you want to change any of the process, that time you have to utilize this configuration management. And by utilizing this here, it will have the aim to support any of the integration process system. Okay, wherever the developers can access this project code, and also they can have documented it in a very controlled manner. That is a major thing of this configuration management. So here also I have written the same thing, where you can see that the main aim of the configuration management will be to have to support all the integration process, where they can access the project code and also they can document it properly. So if in the future if they want to do any changes, that also they can compile and check it out, and they can link all the components where it can create the system. If you want to know more about that, in your book there is a chapter of 25, you can go through that. But for your exam, for your 6 marks of question, this much of notes are enough. So now if you want to go for the configuration management activities, there are three things are there. One will be your version management, where you have to keep the track of your all the versions of your software components. So if you want to facilitate or if you want to add any new components into that, then always you have to provide it with a new version name, so that if anybody is downloading that software, then they should have the updated versions. One more will be there, that is known as your system integrations, where it will be providing you that the version of the components also, and also it will create the each versions of the system. Okay, because whenever we will change any of the versions of the softwares, then it has to change along with your system also. So automatically it will change whenever each of the version will get created for your system integration. And also it will helpful for you if you are compiling any of the components, or if you are linking the components with your required components. All these things will link very easily or automatically inside your system integration part. The last part of your configuration management activities is your like tracking. So problem tracking in the sense, because that is also a major part of your configuration, because sometimes we will have the bugs. Okay, so whenever we will have the bugs, how to solve this, how to find out the errors whatever is happening. So that time the developers has to see the problems properly, because the developers has been designed the software, so they will be knowing where the exact error has come. So they need to check it out the problems and they need to fix the bugs. So that is nothing but that is known as your problem tracking. So these are the activities under your configuration management system. So now if you want to see how the tool interaction has been managed inside your configuration system, so you can see over here, the first thing will be your component versions, then the version management. You should have the system versions, system building. So all these things are interconnected, because if you are changing anything, then definitely it will affect towards your system. Then if the changes, any changes has been made, or if you have released any management, if you have given any proposals, and if you have done the system release, because for the system release, in the sense whenever you have changed any of the components or linked it, the system has to be released once again, because that software, wherever the system has been loaded, it has to update it soon. So in that way, the interactions between the all the tools has to take place inside your configuration management system. The last part of your implementation issues is host target development. As I already told you that host is nothing but the machine on which the software is going to be developed, and the target is nothing but the machine on which the software is going to run. So this is a major thing of your host target development. So here what will happen, if you are going to talk about the development platform, I told you that there will be two platforms. There will be two platforms where one will be your development platform, one will be your execution platform. So if I want to talk about the development platform and the execution platform, so both the things, both the platform requires the hardware. Without hardware, it is not possible. And one more thing is also, it also includes the installed operating system, okay? Because without operating system, the development platform and execution platform will not start, okay? You need to have the operating system. And also with that, if you need some of the supporting softwares, in the sense, if you want to keep the database, you should have the SQL or Oracle or whatever it is. If you want to have any interactive frameworks or components, for that also you should have the softwares. Then only all these things can be executed properly. So in your development platform, normally it will be installed inside your software than your execution platform, because these platforms will be very architectural, okay? They will have a nice architecture spacing that you can understand also properly. And if you, they will have the graphical editing tools. If you are going to use that graphical editing tools for some instances, then you can edit all your UML diagrams. That's the reason this is known as your architectural tools, architectural platform. Here you can use, and also this one can debug all your tools. So this is about your host target development. Here you can see, this is my host, this is a target, it has to be downloaded the software. So the host will be running under your development platform, where there will be the IDE, compilers and testing tools, and the target will run on inside your execution platform, where there will be the libraries, some related softwares or systems, and the databases. So this is a diagram of your host target development. If in your book this diagram is not there, please prefer this slide to write the answer properly in the exam. Now, if I want to go in detail about the development platform tools, I told you that this is nothing but it will have one graphical editing tool. By using that graphical editing tool, it will be useful, or it will easily edit all the UML diagrams, okay? And also this language here, whatever the language has been used, it will debug it very easily, the system, okay? So that's the reason it is a very language oriented thing, and it can debug the system very easily. It will have the integrated compiler and the syntax directed editing system, where it can use all the creations, additions, or compiling any of the code very easily. That is the reason it is known as your integrated compiler system. And also one more thing, it will have the testing tools. So if testing tools will be there, then easily you can say, you can run on that, and you can test the set of set of modules, and you can find out that if any error or any bugs are there, and if it is there, then you can implement towards your new versions of your program, and you can release it. Then the next one will be your project support tools, which will be helping the organization for finding out the codes for any different development projects. Because I told you that this is the it uses the reuse concept. So if already any codes are available for any of the projects, development projects, then that also it can be reused nicely if you are using the reuse concept. So now if I want to go for IDEs, environments. So here what will happen, it will have some software development tools, and which is going to be grouped together to create the integrated system. And this is a set of software tools which will support some of the different aspects of the software development. And if you want to add some frameworks or any interface or anything, that also can be available inside your integrate inside your this IDE. And also it will support towards your development in a specific programming language like your Java or something, where you can use this general purpose IDE system, and it can be very specific language. It will have very specific language support tools where you can design all your frameworks. So whenever you are designing any frameworks by using the user interface, that time that is known as your IDE. Now, if you want to go for your component or system deployment factors, that there will be some component and system deployment factors. This is also under your host target development. So here what will happen is there are three things are there. Okay. The first point will be on your hardware and software requirements. So suppose if any of the component is there or you want to develop for specific hardware or softwares, so that time what will happen is you have to provide the target platform, because without the target platform it will be quite difficult. And through your target platform it will have the all the hardware and software support. So as it is having all the hardware and software support, so here, yeah, it has to be specified only with the target platforms. The next one will be like your availability of system requirements. On your this availability of system requirements, what will happen is you are going to deploy all the codes for your one or more than one platform. So if you are deploying it, then you can see that it can run in more than one platform. And it is nothing but here, like it will have some requirements of the components, and it is going to work on different platforms. And also in this case, what will happen if suppose in any case the system got failure or the platform gets failed, then what will happen? There will be availability for your other platforms where your existing components can run easily. Okay, so you are not going to waste your time also for that, and you can get the systems or systems easily to run the components. The last one is nothing but it is your communication among the components. So communication among the components in the sense, what you're going to do is, suppose if there is any high level of communication you are going to have, high level of communications, that is nothing but traffic between the components. Okay, traffic between the component in the sense there will be more components and you don't know which one has to execute first. So that time this traffic will come, you know the general meaning of traffic. So whenever we can't go, so that time that particular situation is known as your traffic. So in that time what you're going to do, in the same case we are going to deploy over here. And if you have more ports and you want to run everything at a time, then definitely the traffic will come. So if you want to deploy all these things on a same platform, or if you want to deploy all these things in a different platform, then all these things like you have to see, because there will be definitely a time delay. It will take some time also to send the message from one place to another place, and this one will create the bandwidth problem. And here also you can reduce all these things if you can avoid this traffic. Okay, so that is nothing but it can be possible only inside your high level communication situation. So this is all about your host target development. And till here, if you are going to write about your implementation issues, then you can avail for your 6 marks of answer. So I'll just go once again. This implementation issues is of three types, that is reuse, configuration management, and host target development. Inside your reuse, again there are four labels, that is your abstraction label, object label, component label, and system labels. And if I will go for your configuration management, I told you that again there are three things. One will be your version management, then system management, then problem tracking. And inside your host target development, you need to write about the host and target, what is that. Then you have to write about your development platform and the execution platform, how it is going to be deployed with the tools and all, any integrated development tools you are using. Then you have to write about these deployment factors. In this deployment factor there will be 3 points where you have to write about the hardware and software requirements, and the availability of the system requirements, and the communication among the like components. So all these things if you will write, then you can get 6 marks or 8 marks of marks in your exam. So this is all about your implementation issues.